When a car manufacturer decides it's going to stop making a particular model, they usually make sure that the last one to come out of the factory is the best that they can do. But then again, they want you to buy the new one. So they make sure that the new one is as good as that can be as well. And that's why a direct comparison between the last Rover 400 and the first Rover 45 seems like a good idea. We all know Rover was struggling with money, and being owned by BMW didn't really seem to make any difference. But what we have here is a BMW Rover and a Honda Rover, although there are some crossover bits because this car was designed with Honda and this car may have a couple of BMW bits. It is just a facelift really, but with a new name. Whilst the 400 is very much a 90s car, it's separated not by 1 year but a millennium. The 400 does look very much like a 90s car, yet the newer one looks like it's designed to be from the 60s instead. Chrome. Even these mirrors look like they're inspired by the 60s, although in the 60s they didn't really bother with them. And then around the front, the 75 inspired twin headlamp design. I think it's exceedingly classy. It is pretty much the front end where most of the revisions have taken place. We've got that familiar ridge up the bonnet, but the bonnet is different because the grille is part of the bonnet. Headlamps being different, bumper being different, and what I didn't notice until recently are the wings. You see how this line goes all the way to the end? On the 400 it didn't. The design of the mirror different as well, and it's another thing where I actually think the newer one's better. The extension of the chrome onto the back bumper as well, very nice. So far it's all looking rather good. I prefer the 45 to the 400 for all of these reasons, but that might be where it stops. As a direct comparison, I couldn't really have chosen two more suitable cars. Both are saloons and both have the 1.6 K series engine. I like the 1.6 K series engine and I like the 1.4, and in this car they did it as a 1.4, a 1.6 and then a 1.8. And this one it was either a 1.4 or a 1.6, but the 1.4 was particularly pokey. But what they did do, which I don't particularly like, is they replaced the 2-litre T-Series engine as found in this for the KV6 2-litre. The KV6 has a rather nice sound to it. Lovely V6 raspy, throaty, energetic, exciting sound. But it was very thirsty and expensive to maintain, whereas the T-Series was very reliable and very economical, and the power difference was very small. In actual fact, I reckon most would find that the T-Series felt a lot quicker. This one is obviously pre-Project Drive. Project Drive, do you know about that? Well, it's basically an initiative to spend less money getting more done. What I actually mean by that is spend less money and charge the same amount. Basically taking things away to stick in their own pockets. But that also is pre-Project Drive. Both before the Phoenix 4 did all their nasty penny pinching and bank balance filling. But there are still some quality differences between this and that. To me, the Rover 45 is a wonderful car. It's such a nice car to drive. It's got so much character. This is my car and I never tire of driving it. But the trouble is, they just went downhill. What they did do though was introduce a whole load of colours that were really vibrant and interesting and just rather exciting. This one, Midnight Blue, it sounds like it's not going to be very good at all, but just look at it. It just looks perfect in that colour. I would actually like to do a video on the demise of the 45 and go through one like that to a facelift Project Drive, full fat Project Drive, but that'll be another time. Let's look at some things that aren't as good, even on this. The first thing are these door handles. Now, anyone who's got a 45 does this thing where you put your thumb on it like that to push against it, to stop the handle from coming off. You can see that one's weak already. So on the rear doors, you can imagine when you've got children grabbing hold of them and yanking them, especially in the winter, they're going to break, and break they do. So much so that later on in life they introduced these safety plates behind the doors so that thieves couldn't just pull the handles off and break in by pulling the rods. Whereas these handles, they look exactly the same, but they're actually a lot more durable. There really wasn't any complaints with the old Honda door handles. Another common upgrade for these cars is buying Honda door handles to fit on a 45. Inside the Rover 45, excuse me, I haven't vacuumed it, I haven't got time, you'll see seats out of the Rover 75. That was considered a very good thing. The Rover 75, of course, being considered a very comfortable car. And these are nice. But these ones are even better. These ones are much more comfortable. These ones on a long journey don't give you any back issues at all. I mean, those ones don't either, but these ones give you even less of a back issue. I know that doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense, but trust me, those don't give you a problem, neither do these, but these still give you less of a problem. Falling apart door card trims are a problem right from the start. But the 400 had things like red carpets or green carpets or blue carpets, and I mean, look at that seat, that just looks fantastic. Fair enough, the Rover 45 does have a proper carpet in it. It did have for a couple of years, but it's just not as interesting as that. In fact, I think they only did a coloured carpet on the press release car, just to show off what they'd already been doing. The rest of the interior quality is just the same. The only thing is, of course, look at the difference between this and this. I think that's a point for the 45 because this fake wood stuff is very much in keeping with the car. So, after all of that, which one of these two cars do you think I like the most? Well, it's this one, and that's why I put it away, because today is the 1st of December and I don't want this car being left out all winter. Please don't forget to do this and this as well before you leave. Thank you. Doing a video like this, of course, is bound to lead to a couple of bits of information missing that you can easily point out and say, oh, you didn't mention that. Just little tiny bits, and maybe a really big bit, you know, like the automatic. The 400 had an automatic with a D-series Honda engine, whereas the 45 had the CVT with a K-series. There we go, said it, that's sorted out.